And man, we're talking football today. And if you missed us in the first hour, had an opportunity to listen to North Carolina Central's head football coach himself, Coach Trey Oliver, giving us a breakdown offensively and defensively in terms of the Eagles and what to expect for tonight's big ball game. But now, as we get the chance to talk about Southern University, nobody better to talk about it than my man from over at WAFB, my man Kevin Batiste. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Ferry. Thank you for the introduction. Nobody better. I like the sound of it. I always appreciate you, as always.
Well, I just watched your special, so nobody better.
Hey, look, we try to do the damn thing when it comes to the WAFB Southern Special, and I hope that we do the damn thing for everybody in the Jaguar Nation when it comes to that preview.
We truly appreciate you because we know oftentimes here in Louisiana, particularly in Baton Rouge, it's easy to get overshadowed sometimes from that school on the south side of town, but you often got to remind people about the school on the north side of town, and which is why I like the special that you guys did, because you were able to break it down real quick for people out there. If they missed it, tell them about the special and where they can find it.
Yeah, so this year's title, it was called Finish the Job. It is on WAFB.com and the WAFB app and YouTube page. And it's basically, like you said, it starts off with a breakdown of the season through each side of the ball, position groups. We did a feature on the late, great Sean Wallace, a little whip around of the SWAC. You know, we don't just talk about Southern. We talk about what the other teams got going on. The ops, as people call them. Southern ops, Southern ops for this season. You know, the main ones. You know what I'm talking about. And we also, being the fact that this is the MEAC SWAC Challenge, Southern's fourth time playing in the ball game. We took a look back at their last 3 games and how those games transpired. Just a little history lesson, just to give a little respect to the people who have led Southern to the 3-0 record in this MEAC SWAC Challenge.
Trying to make it 4-0 tonight. And Kevin, I want to talk to you because since you did this this show on Southern to break it down, first I want to start on the offensive side of the ball and what you have seen with Southern. And let's start in the trenches, because that's what I think tonight's game, and even with talking with Trey Oliver in the first hour, he said that's where this game is going to really be determined at. And for you, watching Southern in the trenches offensively for the offensive line, we look back into this game, into this team last year. The offensive line, you and I talked about it the first couple games of the season. The chemistry wasn't there. They were not gelling, and Southern had a hard time running the ball, could not get over 100 yards rushing starting off the season. But somewhere down the line, they started to tweak with the roster, and it started to form and gel a little bit more as the season went on. What do you see this year in Southern's O-line coming into tonight's ball game?
Well, I'll tell you this. They're in a lot better position this time as last year when they were heading to the season. As you mentioned, there was so much question marks, like who's going to start where. They lost so many pieces, and it was really that Prairie View game where they made those adjustments, and they took out, I think it was like 3 new people on the offensive line, and they actually did improve. They actually did look more like a jailed unit. So going into this season, they returned 4 or 5 starters on the offensive line. The only guy they lost is Cam Foster. He's left tackle, but they still have Juan Gonzalez at center. They got Chris Garcia at left guard, and they got Brian Wallace and Jerron Lewis. Now the key is, I say, the left tackle. That's the most important position because that's the blind side. So far in camp, they have been working Jerron Lewis, who played right guard last year. They've been working him in at left tackle, and this is per offensive line coach Damon Nivens. But after we talked to Terrence Graves at this week's press luncheon, he said, well, Lewis has also been working at right tackle. So I guess they're still trying to tinker with lineup, seeing which one is the best bet going into this game. But I can say right now that going into this season, the offensive line is in a much better position than they were this time last year.
Let's go to the quarterback position, because that was a musical chair position last year between Noah Biden, Xavier, and T-Set, and then the guy nobody saw coming, Jalen Woods. And for me, once Jalen Woods got in the game because of his pocket presence, you look at Noah Biden, who, it just never wanted to let the ball go. And then when you look at T-Set, he kind of got a little antsy. He wanted to scramble out. But Jalen Woods, to me, gave Southern the best opportunity for the explosive plays down the field. Looking at this quarterback room, you got Cameron McCoy, who transferred in from Jackson State. I mean, with the experience, you got to look at it's going to possibly be one of these two guys going to be the starter for tonight's ball game. What do you think about that quarterback room, as well as Southern adding a fourth quarterback the week of the first game?
Well, Perry, I would love to go into a season where Southern already knows who their starting quarterback is, and they can just tell the public. I mean, everything don't have to be G14 classified, but that's just the way things operate in the SWAC. And I mean, hey, look, I guess we got to deal with it. No, but look, this is a two-man race. I mean, it always has been. I mean, even in the spring when they had Jalen Woods and Jamari Jones, and Jones, he left the team due to personal reasons. And then they brought in Cameron McCoy from Jackson State. And then, they always want to play guys with SWAC experience, and then you want to play guys who have team experience. And I'll be shocked if Jalen Woods is not the starting quarterback tonight. Now, I mean, T. Graves and Frederick, they might throw a little curveball. They might run McCoy out there for a more run-heavy type package. But I am just about sure that it's Jalen Woods. I mean, going off history. I mean, last year they did this whole thing with Bowden and T-Set and Woods, and they ended up starting Bowden because he actually did play in the previous year, but they did play T-Set in that first game. And I wouldn't be opposed that even if and when they start Woods in this game tonight, if he's not getting the job done, they could go to McCoy. And that's one thing, Graves is not shy to do. He'll pull a quarterback. He always says he will do whatever it takes to win the game. And he also mentioned that he expects to play both Woods and McCoy this year, because even though Woods is, like you said, more of that pocket passer, McCoy is a hell of an athlete. And when you have, guys like that on your team that can make things happen and get out in space, you have to give them playing time. So, I wouldn't be shocked if both of them see the field in some capacity tonight.
Let's look at that running back room. Of course, Trey Holly is the guy to circle, but that running back room is deep as ever. And you look at the talent in that room, along with the guys returning from last year, Barry Remo. You look at Jason Gabriel. Then you bring in the spring a young guy coming from Southern Lab and Ashbury. But then you factor in all the transfers that's in. Your thoughts on that running back room?
And this is the position that is catching my attention the most. Everybody's gonna talk about the quarterbacks because it's the most important position on the field, but it's these running backs. And with the way that Southern likes to run the ball, and the fact that they lost their top three rushers last year and all that production, I mean, that they taking a hit. I mean, losing your top three running backs in the season, that just don't happen much. So they brought in the transfers. Obviously, Trey Holly is the biggest name, former five-star prospect, LSU guy. So far from what we've seen in practice, he is as advertised. I mean, once he get out in the open space, it is over. There was one scrimmage where he really showed his agility. I mean, really made a nice little jump cut, stutter step, and then broke the hole for a nice little 40-yard run. So Graves says that it's going to be running back by committee, but if we get to a point down the season where Holly is taking a bulk of the snaps, don't be shocked. Another transfer running back, Mike Franklin, guy from Jacksonville State.
Big guy.
Big guy. He looks the part of a bruiser. I mean, they were just talking about this boom and zoom combo, I guess, with Mike and Trey or whoever else. I mean, 6'2", 225. He looks the part, but his thing is, I mean, when I tried to find, I guess highlights of him, he didn't have many. I mean, and he didn't. I'm just being honest. I mean, I couldn't find much on him. Southern, this is his fourth stop. I mean, before Jacksonville State, he was at UTSA, and then he was at a community college. So, maybe Southern, the SWAC, this might do it for him. But if he can bring that, that boom part, and Trey Holly is as advertised, then the running game gonna be all right. And, same thing with these other transfers. Princeton Cahey from Louisiana Tech. I mean, another, he comes from a G5 school, but haven't seen much from him. And if Asbury or, Barry Remo, Jason Gabriel, whoever, one of those underclassmen can step up too, running back room will be all right.
Yeah, Jason Gabriel is to me, when you look at him, he's just a pure athlete. You can line him up in the slot. You can put him back as return man. You can put him in the backfield. He's that type of athlete where you can put him in multiple places and find ways to use him.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I really want to see from Mark Frederick. I mean, just because a player's position is running back, don't mean they strictly have to be in the backfield. I mean, get him out in the slot, get him in motion, just do something, man. It's like there's too much talent and speed on this team to just run, the basic stuff, inside zone, screen passes, taking shots down. Look, I'm just saying, man. Like, and that's my thing. That's my thing with McCoy. I mean, you can put him in the slot. I mean, put him, in motion or something. Just this little eye candy, something to throw the defense off. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Huh?
You ready for the game?
I'm ready. Don't get me turned up. I'm feeling it, baby. I'm trying to get everybody to realize it's week 0. All the lights are going to be bright because it's going to be on ABC for the entire nation to watch tonight. And I'm looking forward to it. And listen, as we talk about it, we wrap up the offensive talk. You talked about Mark Frederick. Before we move over to the defense, let's look at that wide receiver room. I think they have already circled who there's going to be WR1. And that's going to be Darren Morris. What does it look like after we get past Darren Morris from that wide receiver perspective, as well as we know Dupree Fuller for the tight end position? He looks the part.
He does. Dupree is easily, Southern's second best pass catcher. I mean, last year he had the second most receptions on the team. He really showed his stuff, especially in the Alabama A&M game last year with that one-handed catch. And Terrence Graves, when I asked him at the beginning of fall camp, I said, one player who you've really been challenging, trying to get more out of. He said Dupree Fuller. He said, he showed flashes last year, but his size and even his speed as a tight end, that he can do a lot more in this offense. As far as the rest of the receivers, I don't want to just. I could just throw out names. Kobe Brown, Cam Jefferson, Jordan Dupree, all these guys. But
nobody's proven themselves.
Exactly. At the end of the day, they're just names. You got to show me a little bit more to get some status. So as of right now, it's Darren Morris, and hell, even though Dupree Fuller is a tight end, he's their second best receiver right now. So, maybe throughout the season, we'll see one of these receivers, emerge.
I think all eyes are going to be on Mark Fredericks tonight in terms of his play call. And for every show that I have done, that has literally been the question mark everybody has circled. Nobody is doubting Southern's defense. It has been Southern's offense that everybody has seemed to want to question. And I think his play calling tonight will be with the spotlight on it. Everybody's going to try to see what Southern's offense is going to be with the weapons that they supposedly have, and what is it going to look like in year 2 under Coach Mark Fredericks. All right, let's move on the other side to under Coach Henry Miller, where they have been right there in the thick of things in the top of the conference as one of the top defenses. Now let's talk about trench play, starting in the trenches, defensive line, having to go up against this North Carolina Central MEAC line. What do you see from the D-line, from the interior with the D tackles to the edge rushers for Southern University?
And I'll tell you one thing. It's one thing to get a good test early. It's another thing whenever your opponent returns their entire offensive line from last year. Yeah, this is going to be a good litmus test for this Southern defensive line. It begins with the man himself, Kelby Givens, the reigning SWAC co-defensive player of the year, the preseason favorite once again. All eyes are going to be on him, and I'm pretty sure Trey Oliver and that staff, they have their eyes on Kelby Givens as well. I wouldn't be shocked if they throw a lot of double teams at Kelby Givens tonight, as to say, okay, we're going to take out your best player, somebody else show me something. Zach Yassin is the other veteran on this defensive line, senior defensive tackle. The rest of these guys, they still got to prove themselves. Southern's defensive line, especially in the interior, it took a hit. Losing Jelani Davis, losing Davin Cotton, losing Big Willie Miles. Talking to Henry Miller, he made sure to give Willie Miles his shout out. He didn't put much on the stat sheet, but he took up a lot of space in those A gaps, and that led to guys like Vince Page and Derek Williams to roam. So I think Everything else in this defense, it might be, A-okay, but I mean, defensive line in that interior, that's going to be the one thing to look at.
Looking at that linebacker position, Vincent Page Jr., who's now Vincent Sullivan, he is the guy. I mean, he really was eye-popping in the Bayou Classic last year.
He was, man. He was. He's just a hell of an athlete. He can really go sideline to sideline. 84 tackles last year, their leading tackler. Not really much of a real big rah-rah guy, but I mean, he's just straight to business, and that's what you want in your linebacker. I asked Graves earlier in the week, who's going to step next to Vincent in that linebacker spot now that Derek is gone. It seems like it's going to be Mike Jones Jr.
Who?
281-330-8004. Hey, don't bring me back now. Don't bring me. Don't bring me back. Well, anyway, yeah. It seems like Mike Jones Jr. is going to step in next to Vince. And the thing about that is those two already have a real good connection because they were teammates at Kilgore Community College, and they're real good friends off the field. So you got Mike, and if it's not him, you got Jamarlo Campbell on the other side.
Now we look at that defensive backfield in terms of the DBs. Look, Southern University ranked first in the conference in pass defense. They were 5th overall in the entire FCS in terms of pass defense. You look at Horatio Johnson, you look at a guy like Herman Brister III, you factor in Elijah West, who had 10 pass breakups. But one would argue that maybe they were able to get these stats because quarterback play was not that good around the SWAC last year. So can they get challenged by Walker Harris, the quarterback of North Carolina Central today, to really put them to the test? When you look at this defensive backfield for Southern University, have they been challenged, and do you believe that those stats of being first in the SWAC and pass defense and 5th overall in FCS, is that just a bunch of fluff, or is that as advertised?
Oof. Trying to throw me in the fire right here.
Good
but
question,
you know
wasn't it? I like it. Hey.
You try to throw me in the fire right here, but you know what? I kind of tend to agree that it's somewhat fluff because, as we all know, quarterback play in the SWAC last year was not a premium. It just wasn't good all the way around. I mean, I'm pretty sure the most consistent quarterback play was maybe FAMU. Maybe that's about it. But at the same time, they do have some guys back there. They all have experience, a veteran presence. They all have a good bind. You mentioned Horatio and Herman Brister, who it seemed like if Southern got an interception, Herman Brister was right there for the taking. And another thing, Henry Miller, he pointed to Elijah West as a guy who was due for a big step this year. He said one thing with Elijah is he always liked to get a lot of PBUs, but Miller has been telling him, hey man, when that ball's up in the air, man, we got to bring it down. We got to bring it down. So I think safety is might be the best position group on this Southern defense. But like you said, man, look, if quarterback play in the SWAC is better, we're gonna see how this secondary really gets tested. And getting to play North Carolina Central, that's gonna be a good test for them starting out.
The big question mark for me that mostly gets overlooked is going to be special teams. Starting game 1 last year, and I talked about this earlier in the show, Southern versus McNeese. Southern goes in that game, struggles offensively. Defense did what they had to do to keep the star quarterback at McNeese under center and pretty much keep him back out of the end zone. We get late into that ball game. It seems like if Southern just holds on, they can find a way to sneak out of there and get their first win ever against McNeese. What happens? Special teams falls apart. The craziest, wackiest kick I've ever seen on a field goal goes off the back of the snapper and just hightails it the opposite way. I don't even know where that ball got that much energy from. It just goes the opposite way, and it sets McNeese up for short field position. On a punt, goes over the snap. The snap goes over the punter's head, sets McNeese up for another score. Ultimately, special teams imploded, fell apart, gave McNeese that game, short field position. McNeese won that game. Special teams coming into this ball game for you.
Yeah, that was some extraterrestrial stuff from that. Well, one of the many extraterrestrial stuff from Southern season last year. I mean, which is funny you bring that up because I was shooting that field goal. I was like in the back of the end zone. I thought it got blocked, and then I seen the replay. I was like, wait, it just hit the center's back and rolled like 50 yards. Like what the? That was some crazy stuff. But obviously, they lost their kicker, Josh Griffin. They still have their punter, Kenny Pham. I think last year was a big learning experience from Kenny. I mean, he had to replace Robins Beauplan, who was a real weapon for Southern, especially when their offense struggled. Kenny really didn't have the hang time of Robins, but maybe he got that first year under his belt. Maybe he's been working on some things. I know Kenny took some licks last year. It seemed like every other game he would always get a 15-yard roughing the punter. But hey, he's a trooper. Replacing Joshua Griffin at kicker is a local product, Nathan Zimmer from Central, or should I say the reigning state champion at Central High School. I've only seen Nathan kick once, and that was at the open scrimmage they had 2 weeks ago. And, he showed me some good stuff. I mean, he had a kickoff, go out the back of the end zone. So, I mean, if you get a touchback, he'll come through for you. And he hit a field goal from, I think it was about 45 yards. And I talked to Coach Graves after that. He says he feels his range. I mean, he can go 50. So, I mean, when you have a weapon like that, it can certainly help in these SWAC games that we know can come down to the wire.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Matchup of two teams respectfully finished runner-up in their conferences, the SWAC and the MEAC. Both these teams had an opportunity to play potentially for a national championship in the Celebration Bowl last year.
Yeah. And they both get to start the season early. Really, I guess, start their road to redemption tours or unfinished business, whatever they want to call it. Yeah, man, I just really looking forward to this game tonight. I mean, you get two HBCUs like that on prime time right there in the Black Mecca, as I call it, the A-Town. I mean, I know the Jaguar Nation going to travel deep. North Carolina Central going to bring a crowd. And this is something I've been looking forward to for a long time, ever since I've seen that this game was set on the schedule. So it's going to be a lot of fun tonight at Center Park Stadium.
Let's look at this. Keys to tonight's game, and let's start for North Carolina Central. Keys to the game tonight.
Keys for North Carolina Central, I would say probably time possession, especially when you're a team returning 5 stars on the offensive line going against a team that's relatively new on the defensive line. You really want to control the line of scrimmage, control the tempo of the game, and that means grounding and pounding and really long sustaining drives. So I think it's going to be really time possession and really tiring out that Southern defense tonight in the game.
Let's look on the other side for Southern. Keys to the game for Southern University tonight.
That's easy. Start fast. That's something they did not do last season. The stat that always sticks out in my mind: they only scored 1 first quarter touchdown all of last season, and it came in the Bayou Classic, the second to last game of the season. They got to stop doing this. They have to, especially to their defense, who really has keeps them in the game for a long time. You got to spot them. It ain't got to be 14 points, 10 points, something. They just can't keep playing from behind like this. So that's the main thing I'm looking forward to from Southern. Can they at least start fast and score 2 touchdowns or something in the first quarter?
Yeah, for me, Southern's defense keys to the game. For me, defensively for Southern, they're going to have to be able to get pressure through that offensive line, who you say is returning for North Carolina Central, and get Walker Harris to be uncomfortable in the backfield. And if this secondary is who we believe to say that they are, that was first in the SWAC last year, 5th overall in FCS, you force Walker Harris into some situations, releasing the ball to not be accurate to the receivers and forcing turnovers. If we can get applied pressure and force him to be uncomfortable in the backfield, I think that's what you want to live with the defense. Offensively, You're not asking for too much for your quarterbacks because you want to rely on that running back room. But I think all eyes, you got to circle that whole offensive line. Can they gel together to be able to protect the quarterback? Because it don't matter if the quarterback can run or if it's a pocket passer. If the pressure is coming up around, what can you do? What can that quarterback do? And then for the running backs, what can they do to protect, to open up those holes to get the running backs through? To me, keep it simple for your quarterbacks. Don't ask for too much. But make the plays when the plays have to be made. If that receiver is open down the field, damn it, let the ball go to that receiver. You got to trust your receivers. That's what we didn't see out of Noah Biden last year. He did not trust his receivers. And at the same time, this running back by committee, as you said, aside from Trey Holly, these transfers are going to have to prove themselves. Clearly, you're a transfer for a reason. As you said, there's not much film. You're going to have to prove yourselves. And from the wide receiver core, if the quarterback is to let the ball go, you're going to have to go out there and prove it and say, I can go get it no matter what. You're going to have to be that dog on offense. Special teams, something Southern has not had in a long time, a return guy in special teams. I'm eager to see, can we find that return guy in special teams? Because can that become a part of the game tonight to give Southern the edge if the offense, in fact, does not be able to get it going? And as we've seen before, if you're going to win a championship in this league, you got to play all three phases of this game. And if you're going to play against a team like North Carolina Central, you're going to have to do everything you can to win that game. And that's creating turnovers, getting points on special teams, and an offense that's being effective and not turning the ball over and controlling time of possession, which I think they can do if they can get the run game going. All right, your prediction, looking at this game tonight, what do you think finally is? We are here in week 0, ABC, kickoff tonight, Center Park Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, experience matters, and I'm going to go with the team that has experience, not just in their starters, but also in this setting. I mean, I think the bright lights and being on national TV, that believe it or not, that plays a factor in the situation because Southern has never played in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. North Carolina Central, they have, and they've also played in the Celebration Bowl. And Trey Oliver knows how to get his team calm down and I guess just keep it even keel. And when you got a team that's, like I said, returning their offensive line and their quarterback and their running back, I mean, they know who they are. I mean, they know who they are. Southern, they know who's starting that quarterback, but still, I mean, we gotta see the momentum from that position. Running back, you're still trying to figure out. You want Trey Holly to be that guy, but you still have to see it. So I guess there's still that figuring out phase, and I'm going to roll with North Carolina Central in this matchup. Score probably, I'll say probably 27-17.
27-17. For me, the way I think this thing goes tonight, I think it's back and forward. I think Southern scores late because one thing is, you said, what was the name of your special this year?
Finish the job.
Finish the job. Southern's going to have to finish the job. This is the game that you show you can finish the job and grow up as a team. Southern showed the resilience last year, being able to finish games late, no matter who the opponent was. They were able to find ways to crawl and claw out of those games. For me, I think Southern late in this ball game gets a touchdown and puts it away. I'm going 21-17. I think it's 17-14 North Carolina Central up somewhere mid-fourth quarter. Southern finds a way to make a big play, get down the field, and score late. Southern's defense then steps up because Walker Harris is then going to be forced to have to throw the ball down the field, which then what is going to put the spotlight on Southern's secondary. And I'm going to go 21-17. Southern scores late in the fourth quarter and finds a way to seal the deal and get their first big win in a long time on national television and continue the streak and go 4-0 in the MEAC SWAC Challenge.
Yeah, and not just would that improve their streak, that would also improve the SWAC streak because last three winners are Alabama State, Jackson State, and FAMU. So, I mean, everybody want to rep for their conference. So a win for Southern, it would definitely do that for the SWAC.
Kevin, man, I appreciate you for today, man, and coming on. It is game day. It is the big day for Southern North Carolina Central, man. Appreciate you this morning, man. for being able to go through this with me, man. And then once again, tell the people if they want to watch the special, finish the job, where can they find it and be able to keep up with you, man?
Finish the Job is posted on WAFB.com, WAFB Plus, and the WAFB YouTube page. And you can follow me on Twitter/X at KBatiste Jr. for all your Southern content. And also, we will have post-game, well, we'll try to have post-game reaction for the game tonight, barring any unforeseen circumstances, because we know Southern has a knack for dramatics and overtime. So, just throwing it out there.
Well, Kevin, man, appreciate you, and thank you as always, man.
Yes, sir, man. Take it easy.